Hey everybody, Kyle Sasser here, and it's everybody's favorite time of the month. That's right, market statistics time. So this video is for Hillsborough County for November 2020. So right off the bat here, you might notice that my recording studio here is a little different from usual. The reason why is when Tropical Storm Eta came through, my house was actually flooded. So I do live in Shore Acres, which is one of the lowest neighborhoods in the Tampa Bay area, and we did have some water inside the house, and that's getting taken care of. So I'm coming to you from a temporary studio, but definitely going to bring you the same statistics that you need so you can know what's going on in the real estate market. Now, these statistics, I do need to give you a little bit of explanation before diving into them. The main thing is that these statistics are based on year-over-year numbers. So we don't compare month to month. So we don't compare November to October. And the reason why is because during the course of a year, there's a natural ebb and flow to the real estate cycle. Up north, that cycle is very prevalent in the wintertime because most people don't want to go look at homes when there's 4 feet of snow on the ground. Down here in Florida, we really seem to follow more of there's a little bit of a dip in the wintertime, but we also follow the school year cycle. So whenever school ends and begins, you see kind of a little dip in real estate numbers. So these numbers are comparing November 2020 to November 2019. So keep that in mind. But without further ado, let's dive into the numbers. Now, if you've watched previous videos, you will know that our overall trend since the pandemic has started is that we have had a tremendously shrinking inventory. That trend continues still, which the end result is higher home prices overall. But there is a little light at the end of the tunnel that I'm going to share with you during this video, so be sure to listen to all the numbers. But let's jump into it here. So the total number of closed sales is actually higher than last year. So we're up 7.8% to 1,872 single-family homes sold in 2020. Numbers for average and median home prices, again, because of that constricting inventory and continued demand has resulted in higher home prices. So median sales price, and if you remember your math classes in school, average is when you add up, let's say, 3 numbers and then divide it by 3. Median is whatever the middle point is, where there's the same number of homes sold for more and the same number of homes sold for less. Personally, I like median sales price a little bit better than average sales price because if a lot of really high-priced homes sell, or, well, there's not many of them anymore, but a lot of low-priced homes sell, it can really affect that average sales price number. So I tend to pay attention more to the median sales price because it's a little more, it has less variability, I guess you could say. So median sales price rose 15.7% to $295,000. Average sales price increased 13.5% to $360,962. Now, one of the crazy stats on here that I want to point out, and this also indicates the amount of demand and the limited amount of inventory, is the median time to contract. So what median time to contract is that is how long a house stays on the market. So from the time that it's initially listed for sale to the time that an offer is accepted on the house. What that time is time to contract. And that is down 71% from 31 days to 9 days. So if you're in the market looking to buy a home, that statistic there is why things are jumping off the market so quick. Multiple offers are pretty common, to be honest. Even high cash offers are not unusual nowadays. Unfortunately, there's still some wiggle room to be had in certain sections of the city and the county, but you just have to anticipate that if you're looking to buy a house now, you're going to have to position your offer strategically to get the best price, and it's not just it's not just a given. And even with cash, like a cash offer that's low versus a financed offer that's a better price, most sellers are usually going to go with that financed offer. Now, whenever I say that sort of stuff, people are like, well, I'm just going to wait the market out. Unfortunately, the real estate market moves very, very, very slowly. So you're probably going to be waiting for at least 9 months, probably more, to for the market to change. Because real estate honestly just takes that long to adjust itself. And that's if something changes to alleviate the inventory. So the number of new listings is down. Over the last few months, this has been ticking up a little bit, but in this case, compared to last year, the number of new home listings is down 3.7% to 1,582. The big number, though, is inventory. So the total number of active listings is down 48.4% to 2,143. So there's almost 50% fewer, there's almost half the number of homes for sale this year compared to last year, which is the reason why the month supply of inventory. So what month supply of inventory is if theoretically no other house was listed for sale at the current rate, how long it would take to sell through the current number of houses. And that's down 47.8% to 1.2. So all of these stats, a lot of numbers. Basically, the main thing to know is there's half as many houses for sale, but we're still selling more houses than last year. So a ton of demand and a limited supply equals rising home prices. I do like to dive into the specific price points because there is some variation. The market for a $150,000 house is a little bit different than a $1.5 million house. Just they sell in a little bit different time frames, if I'm sure you can imagine. I don't usually hit all of these. I just want to hit kind of the high points. So basically, no house less than $50,000 sold in November 2020. That is probably the primary thing to know. There is no house under $50,000. There's still some condos and mobile homes out there for less than $50,000, but if you're looking for a house, no house in Hillsborough County sold for under $50,000. Under $100,000, there was 10. So if you're in that 100 or under market, the very, very, very limited supply there. And that's a decrease of 63%. $100 to $150,000 is down 41%, and $150 to $200,000 is down 50%. Now, the thing I want to point out here with the number of closed sales is that there's a split. That split happens at the 250 mark. So houses $250,000 and under, there is a lot fewer this year compared to last year. 250 and above, there's a lot more houses selling in those price ranges. And you're probably asking yourself, how could that be? The simple answer is that due to rising home prices, everything has kind of slid up into a new price bracket. So, and obviously, if you are a homeowner, you want to get the most for your house whenever you sell it. So, of course, you're going to tend to want to list it for a little more money. And those numbers look like 300 to 400,000 is up 57.9%, 400 to 600,000 is up 58.4%, etc., etc. So, median time to contract by sales price. I usually don't go over this one, but the numbers are so nuts I have to share them with you. Basically, everything is down across the board, much shorter time frames, down at least 70% in most price ranges. So 100 to 150,000 is down 79%. 200 to 250 is down 79.3%. 300 to 400 is down 75.6%. And that's crazy. These time frames have dropped from like 30 to 40 days all the way down to 5, 9, and 10 days. So long story short, if you're looking to buy, you basically have to go look at a property within a day or two. And you also need someone who is well versed in current market conditions who can advise you on time frames and when you should make an offer and how you should make an offer depending upon what the circumstances of the property are. Very important. You can't just put an offer out there. You really have to fine tune it whenever you're submitting it, because you're not going to have a lot of time for back and forth. So it's important to structure it the right way from the get-go. And if you need help with that, I would like to volunteer. Number of new listing statistics, pretty much the same split there. So it's right at that $250,000 mark. So any houses less than $250,000, there's a lot less of, and 250 or more, there are more of them being listed. Some highlights: 150 to 200,000 is down 51.5% to 97. 300 to 400,000 is up 21% to 374. The interesting one is the 250 to 300, which is up 0.3% to 350. So that 250 to 300 range has held with the number of houses. Good news is that is also pretty close to the median home price, which is going to be most of the buyers in the area. Unfortunately, when we get into the inventory by current list price, this is where the limited supply comes in. Total inventory across the board is down. So less than 50,000, there was zero. There was no houses even available under $50,000. Now, again, condos, mobile homes, there's some out there. But so far as single-family homes on land, none were for sale in November 2020. 50 to 100,000 is down 69.6% to 14. 100 to 150,000 was down 66.9% to 48. And that's it. That's all that's available. So under 150,000, there's 70, not even 60. There's 60 houses for sale total. 150 to 200,000, there's 113. And on and on and on. Everything across the board is down 30%, 50%, 60%, with the exception of $1 million or more, which only dropped 16.9% for a total of 212 homes. And I always like to end this with the doom and gloom page here. So this covers foreclosures and short sales. Frequent viewers of these videos know that for the last, basically since the pandemic has started, foreclosures and short sales have been on a delay cycle so far as evictions and writ of possessions. So technically you can evict people currently, but if the hardship is caused due to COVID, then they are not being thrown out of the house. And so because of that, and because of the moratorium on writ of possessions and all that, foreclosures are in a bit of a backlog. And those are still reflected in the numbers here. That extension has been renewed recently, and honestly, we're not sure when that's going to open. And it's really kind of an unknown. There's kind of a question mark on that currently. So, but so far as these numbers go, the total number of foreclosures in November 2020 was down 82.4% to 9. And the number of short sales, which is, so that's when somebody owes more on their house than it's worth, and you have to negotiate with the bank for that reduced price. Those are down 26.7% to 11. Now, some people have started making predictions on how many foreclosures there are. It's really a bit of an unknown because we don't know. Because people are not filing for foreclosures because there's no point, because they can't even get a hearing or anything in a lot of cases. So kind of a big question mark for how that's going to develop. Is it as bad as 2007, 2008, 2009? Probably not. But so far as the impact, we don't know. And honestly, my personal take on it is because of the decrease amount of inventory that's out there, unless there is hundreds and hundreds and maybe even thousands and thousands of foreclosures, it's not really going to have a big impact on the amount of money people are willing to pay on houses. So it's just the current state of the market is not set up for declining home prices in the least. Now, I do want to give you an update on the number of new listings per day. So this is something I've been tracking since the pandemic started back in March. So what this is the daily number of new homes being put up for sale. And we have it for this year, which is here. And then we have last year, which is here. And then 2 years ago, which is here. And then I have calculations up here so I can see what the difference is between this year and last year. So throughout the pandemic, we have been hovering at about 30 to 40% fewer listings compared to last year. That trend has changed a little bit. So this is that glimmer of hope that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And where I'm seeing it show up is in, well, honestly, all three of these numbers. So this is the total difference. So this is everything since the beginning of the pandemic. So we're only down 11% compared to last year for the entire year since March. So during that period since March, we have 29,370 homes this year. Last year we had 33,041, and the year before that we had 34,759. So it's usually you see it's been a shrinking inventory market for the last about 5 years or so, and we've been seeing shrinkages of about 5%. So the good news is we've had more houses come online, and we can see that here. So this line is for the last 7 days. I'm recording this the week of Christmas, so these numbers are impacted by the holiday quite a bit. I wouldn't give this a lot of credence, but for what it's worth, for the week of Christmas, we've listed 16.93% more houses compared to last year. And for the last 2 weeks, which I give a little bit more credence to, we're up 12.81%. So this is good news. So we're adding more houses than we were last year. Now, the demand is probably a bit higher than it was last year, but this is good news. We have more houses coming on the market. To me, if I'm reading the tea leaves here a little bit, I'm guessing that this is people who feel that the pandemic, for whatever reason, they feel more comfortable selling in current conditions, and so they have decided to put their house up for sale. I know me personally, I had 3 or 5 homes that I was getting ready to list in late March, early April, and those owners called me and were like, "Hey, we can't have people coming through our house with all this stuff going on." Completely understandable. But I think what these numbers are is people feeling a little bit more comfortable selling. So a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Obviously, at 12%, it's going to take a while to offset that demand as well as the decreased inventory. Because remember, we're almost half as many. We only have half as many homes for sale. So with adding 12% a month or 12% every 2 weeks, it's going to take a little while to build back through that. But I'll continue to give updates on this, and this is something that I have to do manually. I have to go and pull these numbers manually. There's no real report from the MLS that will give me these numbers. So, and I did this because the market was changing so fast that I needed to know like what things were doing week to week so that I could gauge how to accurately make offers and negotiate offers for my clients. And this is information you're not going to find anywhere else, I promise. So thank you so much for tuning in to watch these market statistics video. I also do market statistics for the other counties. You can click below and view the website. There should be links to the other videos in the comments and the suggestions over below. Please, you know the deal. Hit that subscribe button so you're notified whenever one of these videos come out. Click on the website, sign up for the newsletter. I also send out other goodies, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a giveaway as well as answering your questions. So be sure to tune in. Also available via podcasts and all sorts of various things. But if you have a question about real estate, please leave it below in the comments. I would be happy to answer whatever question you have. If it's neighborhood related, maybe it's a wacky question that you've always wondered about and never had the guts to ask, well, now's the time. Ask it. Ask it now. If you would like me to help you find your next great place in Tampa Bay, or if you would like help selling your own home in the area, I would be happy to help you out. You can reach me. My phone number is 727-300-2111, or you can email me, kyle@sassergroup.com, or you can just leave me a message below and I'll get in contact with you somehow, I promise. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.